Hi Year 4, I hope you're all well. For today's PE lesson we are focusing on coordination. Okay, you're going to be showing me basic coordination skills with a ball. And before we start, there's 3 PE at home checks we need to do to make sure we stay safe. The first one is making sure we have a clear area, there's no objects in the way that we could hurt ourselves on. The second one is making sure we have the appropriate kit. We need a sports top and sports shorts or bottoms. And the third one is making sure we have a close drink, so water just down to the side of us, because there'll be a couple of breaks throughout the lesson that will allow you to get a drink. These 3 checks are really important, so make sure you do them now. If all of them are done, let's get started. Okay, so you should have completed your PE at home checks. We're now going to get into a warm-up. Like we do with any PE lesson, we start with a warm-up just to increase our heart rate, to get that blood pumping around our body. For this warm-up, we're going to go through 3 different movements. The first movement will just be a simple jog on the spot. The second movement will be a side shuffle. And the third movement will be box jumps. Now don't worry if you don't know what one of their movements is, because you're going to be copying me throughout the warm-up. So follow along, try your best, work hard. If you've got a clear space, let's get started. The first movement is a jog, so let's go. It's jogging on the spot, nice and easy to start with, doesn't have to be too quick. Good, now into your side shuffles. Shuffle to the left, to the right. Keep going. Well done, great stuff. Good, come back to the middle, and now we're going to go into a box jump. So you're going to jump like around the box. So forwards, sideways, backwards, to the left. Forwards, to the right, backwards, to the left. Forwards, to the right, backwards, to the left. Good, keep going. Good, and back into a jog, well done. So that's the first round. We're going to do 2 more rounds and then we're done. We get into our main activity. Nice slow jog. You should already feel that heart rate increasing. And side shuffles. Brilliant, well done. Keep going. And back into the middle of the box jumps. Forward, sideways, backwards, to the left. Forward, good, and back to jogging. Last round, and we are done for the warm-up. Remember, we're working on coordination today. We'll be doing some throwing. Explain that more in a minute. Side shuffles. Good. Stay light on your feet. And last one, box jumps. Let's go. And stop there. Okay, get yourself a drink, pause the video, and then we'll get into our main activity. Well done. Okay, Year 4, so you should have given yourself some time to have a quick drink. We're going to get into our main activity now. Like I said, we are working on coordination. You're going to show me basic coordination skills with a ball. Okay, so for today's PE lesson, you do need a ball. Now, if you don't have one at home, there's no need to worry. What you could do is roll up a couple of socks into a ball. That will be enough. We won't be bouncing our ball today. Everything will be thrown upwards, so it doesn't need to be a bouncy ball. If you have a tennis ball, fantastic. If you have a bigger football, that will be fine. If you don't have a ball at home, there's no need to worry. Go and get some socks, just 2, and roll them up into a ball. So make sure you've got your equipment first. So if you haven't, pause the video and go and find that now. If you have, let's get started. So I'm going to demonstrate a number of different catching techniques and activities that you're going to do. So you're going to watch me first. I'm going to go through about 5, and then you're going to pause the video and have a little go. Remember, you can rewind the video and re-watch what I've shown you, just in case you forget one. Okay, they're going to be basic, and then they will keep creeping up in terms of ability. Okay, so if you don't manage to do one at the end, and you find that a bit of a struggle, do not worry. Go back to one of the easier ones that I'll show you first, and have a good practice on that. Okay, now the first one, very simple. It's going to be thrown upwards, and you're going to catch with your 2 hands. Okay, so a 2-handed catch. I'm not throwing it too high, just above my head, and I'm not moving. Everything's going to be done on the spot. The second one is a 1-handed catch. Throw up, catch in your 1 hand. Good. Have a couple of goes on your right hand, and then swap over to your left. Same thing, done on the spot. Ball's being thrown just above my head, catching it in 1 hand. Fantastic. The next one, we're going to do a clap when the ball's in the air, so it should look like this. With that one, we're going from back to our 2 hands. So we went 2-handed catch, 1-handed catch, and now a catch with a clap. It's 2-handed. I'll show you one more time. 2-handed catch. Okay? The next one, we're going to do an arm roll when we throw the ball. Catching with our 2 hands again, watching me. Roll our arms, catch. Roll our arms, catch. Roll our arms, and catch. And the last one you're going to do is a throw. This time you're going to clap in front of you and clap behind you. Should look like this. Catch. 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 Okay, so I've given you some activities to do now. Pause the video, have a good practice. I want you to do at least 20 catches on each one. Okay, so that's your little challenge to start for the main activity. Pause the video, go through them all, at least 20 catches on each one. Remember, if you struggle on one, you might find this one hard. Go back to one of the easier ones. Okay? Pause the video now and go through them. Right, so you should have paused the video and gone through them activities. Remember, don't worry if you struggled on one of the ones at the end. You could have practiced the 3 at the start, which were a little bit easier. Now let's talk about how we can improve our catch, our coordination skills. The first thing I want you to think about whenever we're working with a piece of equipment, okay, it needs to stay as close to our body as possible. As soon as we start throwing our ball, okay, or our piece of equipment away from our body, we have less control over that ball. So our throw, when we're throwing it to ourselves, is really important. Our arms should start nice and low here, and it should be an upwards motion instead of a swing forwards or backwards. Okay? Our ball wants to go straight up and then land. It's close to my body. The second thing, we need to make sure that we keep our eye on the ball all the time. As soon as we take our eye off the ball and we look away from the equipment we're using, it makes it a lot harder for us to gauge and track the ball in where it's going to land and where our hands need to be. Moving on to our hands, I always say our hands are like a net, and we need to make our net as big as possible. So if you're catching with 2 hands, okay, hands need to be together because I'm catching a small ball, so hands need to be together, but my fingers need to be spread. If I'm catching with 1 hand again, try and make your net as big as possible, spread your fingers. Now if I was catching a basketball or a football, that will mean I can allow my hands to come apart slightly because I'm catching a bigger ball. But because we're catching a tennis ball, you might be catching some rolled up socks. It's going to be a small object, so we need to get them fingers together, their hands together, but fingers apart. Make your net as big as possible. And then because you're watching the ball, I don't want you to go up and snatch the ball. That's when we start dropping it. We need to gauge where it's going to land and move our hands underneath the ball. As soon as you feel contact, that's when you close your hands. So watching me one more time. I'm tracking the ball with my eyes. I'm moving my hands under where I think the ball's going to land, making my net as big as possible, spreading my fingers. Pause the video again and practice one of the throws, maybe one that you found a little bit challenging, and then remember the things that I spoke about now. See if it makes it a little bit easier. Off you go. Okay, for today's PE lesson challenge, you're going to be learning how to juggle using 2 balls. Now, if you already know how to do that, okay, I want to set the challenge of you learning how to juggle with 3 balls. Okay, so that's your PE challenge for today. So again, your challenge is to learn how to juggle with 2 balls. If you already know how to do that, can you learn how to juggle with 3? That's your PE challenge for this week. Remember, we've worked on coordination today. Well done with your throwing and catching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Hopefully I'll get to see you soon.